Fiona McGregor, the nurse being held in the Gulf state of Qumran for the alleged possession of a bottle of whiskey. Her sentence of 10 years imprisonment and 40 lashes is awaiting confirmation. Today, her mother, accompanied by her MP, Stuart Gordon, and a group of sympathisers, took a petition to the Qumran embassy, but the Qumranis refused to accept it. The Foreign Secretary has described the incident as regrettable, but no action is planned. The pound had another bad day on the foreign exchange.
This is very worrying, Humphrey. There's a lot of public sympathy for that nurse.
Well, I'm sure the Foreign Secretary will advise you what to do.
The Foreign Secretary advises me to do nothing.
I'm sure that's good advice.
We do nothing, we look heartless. We also look feeble. It doesn't do the government any good to look heartless and feeble simultaneously.
Perhaps you could arrange it so that you only look heartless and feeble alternately.
Humphrey, we must do something.
Prime Minister, the Qumranis are good friends of Britain. They've just placed a huge defence contract with us. They tell us what the Soviets are up to in Iraq. They even sabotage OPEC agreements for us. We can't afford to upset them.
I know all that, Humphrey, but the British national is facing a barbaric punishment for a trivial offence committed in a foreign country. The Foreign Office is there to protect British nationals.
They are there to protect British interests.
Well, it's not in her interest to be flogged.
It's not in our interest to prevent it.
Yes, it is. This could hurt the government very badly.
Well, I understand that tomorrow the Foreign Secretary will deliver a strongly worded note of protest to the Qumranis.
Why can't you do it now?
Well, we haven't got their agreement yet. We're seeing the ambassador privately now. Once they've approved the wording, we'll hand it over. Then we'll have done all we can.
Bernard's on his way up. Any more news about that nurse?
No, not really.
Won't the Foreign Office do something?
The Foreign Office isn't there to do things. It's there to explain why things can't be done. This could damage the government very badly. And all the Foreign Office does is shrug their shoulders and say, we mustn't upset the Qumranis.
Must be ghastly for her.
Who? Oh, that nurse, you mean, yes.
You don't care about her any more than the Foreign Office do.
Oh, Annie.
You're only worried about your popularity with the voters.
That's not true.
Sorry, Prime Minister, but it's rather important.
Yeah?
Though the Foreign Office have just rang to say that the Bishop of Banbury and the Church Missionary Society have announced they're sending the Dean of Bailey College to Qumran on a mercy mission to plead for that nurse.
An Oxford Don? Why?
Well, although he's a Christian cleric, he's also an expert on Islam. It's a faith-to-faith meeting.
All right, Bernard, you can tell the Foreign Office that I support their moves to support him.
No, actually, the Foreign Office wants you to stop it. They're furious. They say it's a futile gesture which will only impair our relationships with a friendly country.
Well, I'm not going to stop it. I think it's a good idea, don't you, Annie?
You mean it might save the nurse?
Yeah, well, yes, that too. That, principally. All right, then, tell them to go ahead.
The 6 o'clock news from the BBC with Sue Lawley and Nicholas Witchell.
Good evening. News is just coming in that after 2 weeks in Qumran, the Dean of Bailey College, the Reverend Christopher Smythe, has succeeded in obtaining the release of Fiona McGregor, the British nurse held there in prison. Miss McGregor was being held awaiting a sentence of 40 lashes for the alleged crime of possessing a bottle of whiskey. Both she and the Dean are expected back in England tomorrow. And now for the rest of the news. The pound had another bad day.
So, it's true. I can't believe it.
It's a disaster.
Disaster. Whose idea was it to send that meddling parson to Qumran?
Can't imagine. Bishop of Banbury, perhaps.
We have the situation completely under control at the Foreign Office.
Yes, of course you did.
We made our protest. The nurse would have been quietly flogged and stuffed into some Qumrani jail. And within a couple of weeks, the press would have forgotten about the whole thing.
Still no real damage done.
Well, there's terrific damage to the Foreign Office. We've almost got agreement to set up a signals listening post in Qumran. We said we wouldn't make any more fuss about the nurse if they signed. Now we've lost our best bargaining counter.
Well, you could always find another nurse and plot a bottle of scotch on her.
I don't think we could do that.
No.
No, it's too dangerous.